I am a Jonestown survivor/whistleblower. I was a trusted aide to Jim Jones and am the author of Seductive Poison.
Ask me anything.
I hope, in some way, I have been able to explain the unexplainable and bring some understanding to the unfathomable. I promise you will not be disappointed if you ever have the chance or time to read or listen to my cautionary tale. Thank you so much for your time, your honest questions, and the kindness you showed me. Hello, Reddit. I'm Deborah Layton. At just 18 years old and home from boarding school, I innocently joined the People's Temple and moved into their campus dormitory in Northern California. By the age of 21, I was a trusted aide to Jim Jones and the signatory for millions of dollars in foreign bank accounts. At the age of 24, and believing I was heading to the organization's tropical paradise, I realized I had just entered a concentration camp. Within weeks of my escape from Jonestown, I wrote an affidavit to the US government requesting their help for the 900-plus people being held against their will in Jones' encampment. It became front-page news across the country. 6 months later, and just 4 days before the tragedy, I was in Washington, D.C., giving testimony before State Department officials, requesting help. After 18 years of keeping who I was a secret, I wrote my memoir, Seductive Poison. This month, Random House released the audiobook, now on Audible. A friend of mine said this is an amazing forum, so I'm looking forward to spending the afternoon with you. Ask me anything.
Thank you so much for doing this. I learned about the Jonestown tragedy just a few years ago. Definitely a very twisted, horrible ordeal. Question: knowing what you know now, what would you say your very best life advice is?
No one joins a cult. No one joins something they think will hurt or kill them. People join political movements, social organizations, attend off-campus dinner socials, believing they are mingling with like-minded people. It is often too late when one realizes they've been deceived. Although my experience is extreme, I saw this tendency again when I worked on the trading floor of an investment banking firm, where invisible boundaries are crossed, believing the end justifies the means. When you believe in something and think there will be a great payout, whether in spiritual points or money, it is often hard to take a closer look and walk away from so much. At some point in all our lives, we have been entrapped and did not know how to extricate ourselves. The less extreme and most common are abusive relationships.
Hi, Deborah. In high school, we had to do a religion project in which we were each assigned a religion to study and present to the class. I was assigned the People's Temple. I read quite a few books on the ordeal and articles and whatnot online. One thing that I really never understood is the drills, or white nights I believe they were said to have been called. Were they common? What exactly happened during those drills? Do you think people assumed that last night was another white night and just went along with it at first?
Jones began white night drills in an attempt to further weaken our will. A siren would come over the loudspeakers at 1 or 2 in the morning, waking us from our abysmal sleep. Jones's voice screaming, "Hurry, hurry, children, run to the safety of the pavilion." We could hear gunfire in the jungle, so we knew there were mercenaries out there. No one knew that, in fact, Jones had different young men on different nights, unbeknownst to each other, shooting off their guns. We would be kept hungry, thirsty, tired, defeated in this pavilion, until Jones determined we were safe again. We had these at least weekly. Towards the end, I actually hoped in one of these white nights where we stood in line to take the poison that it wasn't a trial. Life had become so dreary and hopeless, death was a welcomed escape. On the final and real white night, everyone knew that their life on this planet was soon to be stolen from them.
Deborah Layton. Are you related to the infamous Larry Layton? For those who don't know, Larry Layton is a man who pretended to be a Jonestown defector and asked to leave Jonestown with Leo Ryan and the NBC News crew. And Layton opened fire on the plane that was supposed to carry people from Port Kaituma back to a larger city in Guyana.
Yes, he is my older brother. He served over 20 years in prison for crimes 1,000 of us committed. The only person held responsible for the massacre. Had I been in Jonestown when Leo Ryan came, I am sorry to say that I too would have believed he was there to hurt us, and might have shot him believing I was protecting my fellow prisoners. I wanted to leave desperately, but would never have left with him. We were so defeated and indoctrinated that the world the rest of you lived in was foreign to us. Larry believed that he was saving his wife, their unborn child, and all of the other residents of the encampment by sacrificing his own life. I cannot defend what my brother did, except to say that he believed he was saving the lives of 900 people by taking the lives of the traitors. He had no idea Leo Ryan was going to be killed. At his parole hearing, it was the defector he shot that came to the hearing and asked for leniency. He also said that it could have been him. The chief judge, who sat for both of my brother's trials, said Larry was only a small cog in a big machine. Many jurors begged for leniency, however his sentence was mandatory life. I actually explain this much better and thoroughly in my memoir. It is too hard in this shorter forum to explain, defend all of our actions.
Do you speak with your brother?
I see my brother regularly. I only wish my father had lived to see his youngest son released from prison.
As far as you know, did Jim Jones tend to prey on specific demographics/people with specific vulnerable personality traits? I'm sure he had to have had a special kind of aggressive charm about him to recruit as many followers as he did. But how much would you credit the sheer size of People's Temple membership to his recruitment preferences?
He went after well-to-do, idealistic college students, through whom he could siphon money from their parents. He targeted poor black seniors, then siphoned their SS checks. More joined because of the positive press he received. Most believed they were only pitching in to help an organization with good deeds. No one thought they would be forbidden from leaving. Some who left were found, brought back, then punished. One man was killed. Jones used his political clout to procure more politicians, then used those associations to intimidate his parishioners. Jones often met with new visitors, wooing them with the amount of attention he gave them, telling them how he needed their qualities in his organization, that together he and they could change the wrong in the world. Racism, classism.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity to learn more about you, the situation, and your book. I have a few questions, if you don't mind. It was said that many people were being held there against their will. How many actually survived the ordeal? To my recollection, it has been a long time since I read about this or watched the documentary. It was only a handful. Why do you believe that is, that not everyone rose up at the end in the chaos and fought back? Why is it, do you feel, that so many people did drink the poison and gave it to the children? Do you feel that he still had a lot of people that believed in him even at the end? I can understand how people get drawn into this kind of tragedy, but at the amount of people that claim to be held against their will, I find it hard to understand that there was not an uprising. Last question for now. Do you feel, out of the people that survived, that he still had followers who backed up his teachings? Thanks again.
It was not unlike the thousands of Jews imprisoned in Auschwitz. There were far many more of them than the guards. However, when you are given only rice, water, soup for sustenance, work 12 hours a day under intense sun, you become weak. We also were kept in meetings throughout the night, getting only 4 hours of sleep. Many inhabitants were broken. Others of us were trying to figure a way out. When in extreme danger, one tries to think as their captor. We are not always successful. One of the very evil and clever things Jones did nightly was to say he was sending someone he trusted out to pretend they wanted to leave. It was a test of loyalty. Be sure to report them. A father told his 12-year-old son he had an idea for an escape. His innocent son, believing it was a loyalty test, reported his father, who was then used as an example, and had the boa constrictor wrapped around his neck. Jones used fear, intimidation, and heinous other punishments to keep us afraid, silent, and seemingly compliant. Believe me, many of us were afraid and wanted out. Several of us were brave enough to take a stand. As I said before, we who have been back know the best of us did not return. On the night of the massacre, autopsy reports show people were shot, had syringes filled with cyanide injected into their backs. The reason the initial counts came back that only 400 had died, then 600, then 800, then 900, was because families ran to be with other family members and they died together, many on top of loved ones already killed. Jonestown ended through coercion and mayhem. Do not be deceived. No one willingly drank the poison.
Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. In the meantime, check out the other ones. They're already waiting for you. Share your thoughts on this topic in the comments and tell your own stories. Wishing you a great day, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.